Welcome back to Outside View Scandals. Today we're diving into one of the most famous scandals of medieval England, the Barons' War. Now, I know what you're thinking. Medieval politics couldn't possibly be scandalous, right? Wrong. This war was filled with betrayal, greed, and more broken promises than a reality TV show. At the center of it all was King John of England, a man who, let's just say, wasn't winning any popularity contests. But let's rewind a bit. The Barons' War didn't happen overnight. It was the result of years of growing tensions between the English monarchy and the nobility. You see, King John had a habit of making life difficult for the barons. He raised taxes, seized lands, and, on more than one occasion, ignored the laws of the land. In short, he was that boss you never wanted, demanding more and giving less. Naturally, this didn't sit well with the barons. And these weren't just any nobles. They were some of the most powerful men in the kingdom. And they were tired of John's antics. To make matters worse, John had a spectacular talent for losing wars. His disastrous campaigns in France not only weakened England's position, but also drained the royal treasury. Of course, when the treasury is empty, who do you turn to? That's right, the barons. John squeezed them for more money, leading to even more resentment. And so the seeds of rebellion were planted. In 1215, things came to a head. The barons, fed up with John's endless demands and his blatant disregard for their rights, decided enough was enough. They formed an alliance and presented John with a list of demands. This wasn't just any list. It was a document that would go down in history, the Magna Carta. Now, the Magna Carta wasn't the grand declaration of freedom that it's often made out to be. It was, at its core, a list of grievances from the barons designed to protect their own interests. But it did include some groundbreaking ideas about limiting the power of the king and upholding the rule of law. And here's where the irony kicks in. King John, who had been acting like he was above the law, was now being forced to sign a document that told him he wasn't. Talk about a reversal of fortunes. On June 15th in 1215, at Runnymede, John reluctantly signed the Magna Carta. It was a huge moment, one that should have marked a turning point in English history. But surprise, surprise, John had no intention of keeping his promises. He treated the Magna Carta like a piece of paper he was forced to sign under duress. As soon as the ink was dry, he went back to his old ways. Naturally, the barons weren't thrilled about this. John's refusal to honor the Magna Carta led directly to the outbreak of the First Barons' War. The barons raised an army backed by French forces, and civil war erupted across England. And let's just say King John's military career wasn't about to take a turn for the better. John, ever the tactician or lack thereof, found himself on the defensive. He may have been king, but his enemies were growing in number and strength. By 1216, things were looking pretty bleak for him. And then, in a stroke of luck for the barons and bad luck for John, he fell ill and died. That's right. The great scandal of the Barons' War ended not with a final climactic battle, but with the king succumbing to sickness. Somehow it feels like an anticlimactic end for a man who thrived on drama, but with John out of the picture, the war didn't exactly end there. His 9-year-old son, Henry III, took the throne, and the barons saw an opportunity for peace. They rallied around the boy king, negotiated terms, and the Magna Carta was reissued with some adjustments. It would go on to become a cornerstone of English law and governance, shaping political thought for centuries to come. But let's not forget the real scandal here. The Barons' War wasn't just about high-minded ideals or the pursuit of justice. It was about power. The barons didn't revolt because they were champions of liberty. They revolted because they were tired of paying for King John's mistakes. They were tired of his overreach, his disregard for their rights, and his endless demands for more money. The Magna Carta may have symbolized a new era of governance, but it was born out of a power struggle between an incompetent king and a group of fed-up nobles. And let's not kid ourselves. Both sides were playing dirty. The barons weren't exactly saints, and John, well, he was John. In the end, though, the Barons' War gave us one of the most important legal documents in history. The Magna Carta's legacy lives on, not because of the nobility of the Barons' cause, but because it established the principle that even a king is subject to the law. And that's a scandal worth remembering. So thank you for watching Outside View Scandals today. Stay tuned for more stories from the shadowy corners of history. And remember, when leaders start breaking promises, history tends to catch up with them, one way or the other. And if you want to see another video, the next one is right here in the end screen.